talk with your Google Ads team if you're SEO, or if you are doing Google Ads, talk with SEO team. You need to gather data, use it, and build on this cooperation. This is synergy, not a fight. And those are two great tools that can work together, and they will get you better results if they really, really work in synergy together based on data you collect. Hi, I'm Krzysztof Marzec, and this is SEO in 2026.
Krzysztof, what's your number one SEO tip for 2026?
Use your data from Google Ads to improve SEO, and use data from SEO to improve your Google Ads campaigns. And also mix it and blend it with AI, because now we have AI to improve it all.
That sounds like some recipe. So what happens then if, as an organization, you're not actively using Google Ads? Are you saying that it's worthwhile having some kind of small campaign up and running simply to use as data to power your SEO?
Yes. If you are not using Google Ads, you are losing a lot of data. You are losing clients also, because look, when you are generating organic traffic to your website, you should fight for a conversion rate. And for example, using remarketing in Google Ads or in Meta Ads can improve your conversion rate, because you will simply have more attention from your users after they quit your website. But we also see that in long-term projects, when you are fighting for some keywords in organic, you are just losing the potential of getting new clients when you could use Google Ads to run for the same keywords, for the same targets, and then gather some data. For example, when you run a Google Ad campaign, you can check the quality score, and if it's like good CTR, if it's good ad, or your landing page. And from this report, you can learn that your campaign in SEO can fail or be much, much harder to gain traction, to gain some visibility and high positioning in SERPs, because there is something off with one of these parameters. So we use Google Ads as something that you can just test your ideas. And for example, in SEO, you have only one landing page. It's extremely hard to do A/B testing in SEO. In the same website, you want to just use everything for the user base. You don't want to risk anything. In Google Ads, it's very, very simple. So for example, someone comes and changes your landing page, and you don't want to risk it in the whole SEO. You have some arguments for the new landing page, but also you see some issues, potential issues. Just run campaign in Google Ads, test it, do A/B testing, and check conversion rates. Check how the changes will impact in future, and then decide what you are going to do based on data, not on a hunch or just simply looking for something new on your website, right? So this is the power of Google Ads. Also, when you are doing the process in SEO, you need to do great titles. Of course, we are basing mostly on keywords. You want to cover some visibility issues and stuff, and your meta description. And there was some tests a while ago that they say, delete your meta description. Google will use like generated meta description and it will rank higher. It will boost visibility. It's true, because there are so many bad descriptions that in some cases it's better to delete them. But what we do, when you use Google Ads, you can make a lot of headings for your ads and test them. Which ones are dragging more clients to your website? We are looking at CTRs and, of course, minding conversion rates, because we don't want to use bait for a client. We want to convert him. So then you learn what is working, what call to action are working, what USPs are working, and maybe include some numbers in this. And we are, again, not just putting ideas there and then selecting ideas by random. We will gather data. We will know exactly what worked, what Google tested, which combination had the most great results. And also, you can make new headings using AI. So now we use AI to give some ideas, we use other ideas, and we teach businesses that to make a great SEO title, they need to change something in how they show their products. For example, they are lacking USP, they are lacking great call to actions, And we need to change this and sometimes business model, because we are, for example, telling the producer to show prices that they don't want to show. But when everyone else is showing prices and you are not showing them, people can avoid your website. So it's all about gathering these ideas and testing them and using them. Also, when we test landing pages, we can improve our headings, our content to make it more sticky. I like this word because we are not thinking about bounce rate or lowering bounce rate. We want to solve user intent problem. For example, for one user, the solution will be, okay, add to the basket and done. For other user, we will build FAQ section and answer some questions. And when we test it and we get great results in quality score in Google Ads, it's much, much easier to do organic campaign in SEO for that same landing page.
Krzysztof, I think you've given me about 5 more questions to ask you, and your answer there as well. So I think this episode will have to go on for 2.5 hours, but we'll see what we do. So the point that I'm going to pick out is your recommendation, obviously, to use Google Ads as a testing tool as well. What happens, though, if you're an SEO and you work for an organization that has a website that's quite popular? Surely you can just use tools like VWO or Optimizely to actually do those split tests to improve your landing pages? Or are you saying that you get data from Google Ads that wouldn't be available at all using those organic testing tools?
Yes, there is a part of Google Ads that we call Ad Rank. And this ranking works on some data that Google doesn't show us. So it's like something like black box. But what they show us is quality score. And we need to know that the quality score is not like the numbers they are using for all the ranking. It's a diagnostic tool. And this quality score, you can check, it's like from none to 10, have 3 major pillars. So first is CTR, but carefully, it's not a CTR you read from reports. It's something called predicted CTR. So Google basically tried to count if your ad for this keyword will get attraction and get some higher CTRs than your competitors, because it's always not about like a exact number. It's how your website, your ad will look compared to your competitors. Then the second one is based on how your ad is relevant. So it's looking at what you put in your ad and if it's a solution for user problem. For example, you can have a website about bikes and someone is looking for bikes. And you say like, it's all good. But when you sell bikes only from one brand, there can be issue, because if we check the user intent, they want to compare a lot of bikes. So for example, you'll have issues for some keywords because you don't understand what users are exactly looking for. And someone will say like, you won't solve it because you still sell one brand of bikes. You can do something like explain why you are only selling this brand of bikes. You have to put very good emphasis why it's the best brand to sell, right? So if you explain this on your website, you can get higher the third pillar, the landing page experience. And there is a lot about landing page experience. And what other tools are missing? We don't have this data straight from Google. We know Google is gathering this data. We know they are using it. There was a lot of issues if it's true or not. Sometimes Google said we are not having something like, for example, some value, how we value a certain domain. Then after some leaks, we know it exists. We know that we can check it for a while. Now it's we cannot check it anymore. But if you think that they have powerful tool to assess if ad is helping user, you have to think that they probably do something similar for SEO. And a lot of SEO think that when you learn and when you try to understand it, you'll basically do what other people are doing. For example, usability people, conversion optimizing specialists, you will try to help your user better. And that makes the holistic approach to SEO. And it's super important to understand that the aim is not visibility. The aim is not being on top of SERP. The aim is to help and convert, right? So this is basically the data that will help you do it. And what I recommend, that you put this data in AI. For example, when you put some keywords with landing page ad copies and you ask AI to analyze and explain why my quality score is low, and you provide all the landing page, you can print it to PDF file. It's easier to access some landing page, for example, in tests or something like this. You can send it and it will try to explain to you. My results with Gemini 2.5 were great. They explained some stuff I didn't pay attention to. So I basically learned how the user can see my website and what I can improve to get this dwell time longer, to help him better, to add some new stuff to FAQ section, to maybe put some emphasis on stuff that people are paying attention to. So yeah, Google Ads basically gives this data for you, and other tools don't have it because they are not Google.
Brilliant. Okay, so I can certainly see it's possible to significantly enhance your SEO landing pages through the use of Google Ads and AI. What about pages that aren't landing pages, discovery pages, perhaps pages on your blog? Would you also try to drive traffic to them using Google Ads, or is it not possible to optimize those pages using this process?
Yeah, you can use it. You have much less data because the traffic will be lower probably. But in many cases, especially in e-commerce, we drive traffic to all the websites we could call blog, or like sites that are just make content to help you understand the product. So we put a lot of effort doing this, and using this only in SEO channel could be a waste. Here I recommend using dynamic search ads. They will use what Google already have in index, and they will automatically target those pages for keywords that are matching. So then I can learn, maybe in the data I will find something like stop doing this, drive your traffic only to a e-commerce category, or other way. I will learn that driving traffic to my category was a bad idea. My article about how to choose a first drone for a kid, for a toy or gift, will be much better in converting because there is a lot of content, explanation and stuff like this. So it can help you understand what keywords should lead to your categories, products, main page even, and what keywords definitely should be targeted for this news part, like article part of your website. And then if you get more conversion from them, you just put more budget in it. Because it's a niche, you will get very, very cheap conversions also from this article side of your website.
Okay, so that's how Google Ads can assist with SEO, but it's quid pro quo. So how can SEO help with Google Ads?
Yeah. So basically, it's about a lot of things, but it's speed and how the website is organized. So for example, we noticed that, and Google says it all the time, that if your website is loading faster, you will get more conversions and less users will go back to Google. It's super important to understand that this works also for Google Ads. So all about core web vitals, optimizing for this, and all about analyzing that in Google Ads, we have more landing pages than in SEO. For example, we can use a landing page that is results of an internal search engine. And this is the part of website in mostly e-commerce that is the most slow URL in whole website, right? So if you put some emphasis on it, you can learn, of course, new keywords from this mechanism, but this could be a better landing page for some filters. For example, products with some options, some colors and material, for example. Then you will learn that you should make those filters available for Google indexing. So you can learn from this. Then if you focus on how you make good content for SEO, you'll notice that there is some structure. There is, for example, index, and we want to make it clear to read. Everything works and make better traction in Google Ads also. So if SEO is improving content, not only for bots, but for user, they will improve the same landing pages for the traffic for Google Ads. What we notice is, for example, experiments with making this TLDR version on top of your content. gave us a much better traction in Google Ads. The quality score went up for a landing page experience part. They went up. And then we got a lower bid, so less money for the same traffic. And also, answering the question right away led to interaction with, for example, products or services. So small tests in how you write for good SEO can lead to much better Google Ads. I think the worst scenario is that you have two different teams of people, and one team is optimizing your website for SEO, and second team is making these landing pages to convert in Google Ads. This is a very bad approach because they don't learn from each other, and you definitely can make one great landing page for both, and it will get great results from first SEO, then optimization for ads will give you results, instant feedback from Google, so you can improve and implement this. Oh yeah, that's the basis. But SEO can do much more. For example, dynamic search ads, which I tell you about, and the shopping ads, they are based on what Google knows about the product from us. In shopping ads, you deliver this data via feed. In dynamic search ads, they have to crawl your website to find this. And when you start analyzing your website for missing keywords, for missing niches, for example, you are selling fridges and people are looking for fridges by a brand. Okay, we all know this, but people are also looking for fridges by their size. And if this is not pre-made by SEO, so the size is not emphasized in the content, and you forget about stuff like this, you will lose in DSA and shopping ads. And everyone said like, okay, we know this, we have these parameters, but then only after long-term analysis of whole cloud of keywords that are around your main keywords, you will learn about these super niche parameters that you have to add sometimes. And they are not even provided by the producer of the fridge. Because, for example, the word like the fridge is quiet, it's super important how we users are searching for a fridge, but producer will tell us this parameter in decibels, right? So you have to translate it, what you already have in the description, to what are really looked for by your users, people that want to buy a fridge. So these will help a lot with shopping ads, dynamic search ads. I think you can easily also say that it can improve results from PMAX also, if you are basing on PMAX. But the mostly is, what I want to say is improving content for user will improve it for Google Ads, and speed, page speed. Improving page speed can make brilliant things for Google Ads results.
And I guess this will help you understand your user as well and actually build a better picture of who your target customer actually is.
Exactly. This is a very good point. A lot of people doing research for keywords, they are thinking only about keywords. They are not thinking about persona behind those keywords. It's very hard to get this persona. Of course, we can go into Google Analytics and try to analyze the demographics and see what are based core interests of the people buying our stuff. And we can use it in Google Ads or in Meta Ads, for example, targeting more of these segments. But AI gives us great opportunity. We can give the description of a product and ask for a persona or describe persona we know of and ask what would you change for this description, this content be better for that persona. And don't use it like, okay, I put it on a website. No, we need to learn what's the difference, what they will look at. And for example, you will learn that parents choosing bikes are all about security. Kids probably are all about colors. So if you put all of this in your content, not damaging it, because you can, if you write only for exact one persona, you can damage this for other personas. But if you put all this necessary info, so this is bike for kids, so we will address parents and stuff like this, you will get higher. Again, quality score in Google Ads and a visibility in SEO.
Krzysztof, what's the key takeaway from the tip you shared today?
Key takeaway is to talk with your Google Ads team if you're SEO, or if you're doing Google Ads, talk with SEO team. You need to gather data, use it, and build on this cooperation. This is synergy, not a fight. And those are two great tools that can work together, and they will get you better results if they really work in synergy together based on data you collect.
Krzysztof Marzec is CEO of Deva Group. Find out more over at devagroup.pl. Krzysztof, thanks so much for being part of SEO in 2026.
Thank you very much.
I've been your host, David Bain. Get your copy of SEO in 2026, the book, over at SEOin2026.com.